ton of different ideas. As an artist, as a creator, I'm constantly churning out new ideas. And I could literally be working on 10, 20, 30 different projects if I had nothing else to do in my life. But I need to focus. So it's a daily, consistent discipline and challenge for me to focus and to be able to put aside some of my ideas and some of my, passions sometimes, and be able to just say, you know what, that's for another time. This is what I need to accomplish right now.
Nice. I like that. And if you're okay, like, what are some of the more detailed ways you go about saying, hey, this is for a later time, or I need to put my attention on this and not this sort of thought?
Well, and it's not easy.
Have you ever wanted a free coaching session that completely just changed your life simply from the one thing that was said in the video? Well, this is basically that podcast. It was for me. I was struggling with something and I listened to what Norbert had to say, and it completely just helped me just now, actually. So thank you, Jeff Brown. Thank you, Norbert. I appreciate both of you very much. And I'm really excited to release this episode. I have been following Norbert and being a part of some of the companies he's been in for years. And thank you, Brian Finale, so much for all your help. Copywriting Mastery was definitely one of my favorite courses. And I think there's some great takeaways that can be definitely taken from this that will really help you out, especially if you're in the entrepreneur space or if you're just looking to improve on a personal level. So please listen to the whole thing, engage with it, and feel free to reach out to Jeff, Norbert, or myself, as we all just love to help people. So have a great day, everybody, and be well. Cheers.
And a dream in some kind of distant future that you're never going to actually create if you can't put it into tangible actions that you need to do in the present, or I like to say kind of in the short term. So looking at your business on a quarterly basis is really valuable if you're not doing that already, right? So every 3 months, 90-day runs are really important to do.
Norbert, so pleased to have you on here today. It's a complete honor.
It's an honor to be here with you, Ian. It's awesome to watch you have just kind of grown and developed in this industry, and it touches my heart a little bit where you said that we were a little bit of an inspiration here for you to get started on this journey with podcast, and it's just awesome to see you making this a reality.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I think one of the big things I've taken away over the years, and one of the most helpful things, was when we were in Austin, Texas, I believe it was, years ago. You had said that basically focusing was very important towards success. And even we talked about it just a few weeks ago too. And I'm curious, where did that viewpoint or thought process kind of stem from?
If you guys are wanting to connect more, be around some great people, and be included, then check out iantolson.com, click that subscribe button, and you will be getting plenty of good information sent right to your email, and also be included chances to be on the Monday night calls, Zoom calls. Listen to what Jeff Brown has to say. Totally makes my day. Hope it makes your day as well, and looking forward to seeing you over there. Cheers.
As a networker, I first joined for the connections, for the opportunity to meet new people. And I've done that. I've met some amazing people along the way. That's one of the things I love about this Monday night is it's a different group every Monday. There's some regulars, there's some new people popping in. It's exciting. It's fun. It's casual. So I've had the opportunity to meet some connections for business there, for my own business, and that's been great. But one of the things I love the most is sharing my experience with some of the other new business owners there that are just getting started, sharing some of the pitfalls that I ran into, and maybe helping them along the way. That's special for me.
It's a personal challenge. I deal with that challenge on a daily basis. I haven't been diagnosed with ADHD, and it's not something that I would ever need to be diagnosed with, but my daughter clearly has ADHD, and she's a teenager, and she's kind of gone down that path. Learning about ADHD and mental health issues is something she's really interested in. And she was just sharing with me, how she manages with ADHD and stuff. And I'm like, girl, I'm just like you. Like I can relate to everything that you're saying right now. So I guess I have ADHD as well. And so we have this bond where we just kind of share our challenges around our creativity. And for me, my personality, doing the wealth dynamics test, which I'll just put a little plug in there for Roger James Hamilton and the wealth dynamics test. It's super awesome. My personality style is a creator. One of my personality styles is a creator. So I have a ton of different ideas. As an artist, as a creator, I'm constantly churning out new ideas. And I could literally be working on 10, 20, 30 different projects if I had nothing else to do in my life. But I need to focus. So it's a daily, consistent discipline and challenge for me to focus and to be able to put aside some of my ideas and some of my, passions sometimes, and be able to just say, you know what, that's for another time. This is what I need to accomplish right now.
Nice. I like that. And if you're okay, like, what are some of the more detailed ways you go about saying, hey, this is for a later time, or I need to put my attention on this and not this sort of thought?
Well, and it's not easy, but you have to prioritize the projects that are most important right now in the short term. So, it's really nice to have those big picture. You have to have those big picture visions for yourself, right? You got the magic of thinking big and creating that dream board and creating that vision for yourself that's going to pull you into the future. So important. Got to have that. And at the same time, we have to be in the present, thinking short term and being strategic about how we're going to get ourselves to that vision, because otherwise it just becomes these pictures on a dream board and a dream in some kind of distant future that you're never going to actually create if you can't put it into tangible actions that you need to do in the present, or what I like to say, kind of in the short term. So looking at your business on a quarterly basis is really valuable if you're not doing that already, right? So every 3 months, 90-day runs are really important to do. This is something that luckily Melanie in our organization, she's our integrator and our organizer. And so we now have quarterly meetings. And in those quarterly meetings, we decide what are our rocks, right? What are the big rocks that we need to get accomplished this quarter, this 90 days. And we're only allowed to have 3 to 5 big rocks. That's it. That means that you have to make some tough choices, because there might be 6 or 7 or 8 different projects and tasks and big rocks that you really want to accomplish in your business. But the reality is you most likely won't if you put too much on your plate and you don't have the resources to do it, and if you don't have the focus. And so you got to limit yourself. Okay, well, what are the top 3 things that if I can get done in the next 90 days, I know are going to move me towards that vision? And then you have to make those difficult choices. And if you're working by yourself completely, that might be challenging. And this is where mentors, coaches, friends, whoever you can have in your life, where you can bounce that off of them and maybe get some input and some guidance to help you make those choices and those decisions. And then once you make those choices and decisions, you've got to keep those focused for the next 90 days. So as you go week to week and you're creating your to-do lists, at the top of that to-do list should be your big 3 rocks that you're focused on, so that you're always deciding, my activities during the week, how are they moving me forward to accomplishing those 3 rocks?
Interesting. And speaking of the 3 rocks, is there something more onto those? Is like one, maybe for someone even personally, like is one should be a financial one should be, this is a thing that I need to get done, or what would you say?
Well, that's a great kind of next step to take it. I think most people, when they're thinking about their to-do lists and the things that they have to accomplish, typically I'm business focused as well. So I'm typically thinking about my business rocks initially. But that's a great point that you bring up. How do you balance work and life? And so if you want to create balance, then obviously you need to prioritize those other areas of your life as well. So for instance, right now I'm dealing with a health issue. And I truly believe that part of this experience for me is learning how to find that work-life balance, because this last year for me has been very challenging, one of the most challenging years that I've had in a long time, from a professional standpoint. And so I've been very much in workaholic mode. And I have this mentality that I'm invincible. And I push myself to the limit. Absolutely, I do. I know that I can be a bit of a workaholic in that sense. And this forced me to stop. Because now, for the last couple of weeks, I've been spending at least an hour to 3 hours every day prioritizing my healing. So whether I'm doing acupuncture treatments or my hydrogen therapy or just sitting in meditation for an hour, that has now become a priority in my workday. And somehow I found the time for it, right? Because before this happened, before I got kicked in the eye, literally, well, figuratively, but kind of literally, my default response was, I don't have time for that. Because there's other things that are a priority right now, right? Like we have these fires that need to be put out, right? The business is in trouble. There's a huge challenge we need to deal with. We're starting up a brand new company. Obviously, when you're in a startup, you got to put in the hours and you got to put in the time. Like you do go to burnout when you're when you're trying to start up a new company. It's intense. All hands on board, all hands on deck, everybody working intensely, everybody super focused and committed. And yet, if you don't balance your health, if you don't balance your relationships, if you don't balance the rest of your life, you're going to lose sight. You're going to lose sight of what's really important. And this is just to go a little bit further, because it just made me think about it. This is a repetitive pattern in my life that I've been challenged with, because I could say the same thing about my first marriage and what led to the divorce. It wasn't all rooted in that, but a part of the reason for my divorce and the reason for our relationship falling apart was because I didn't have that work-life balance. I didn't know, I hadn't effectively been able to shut my mind and work Norbert off to be with family and to be in relationship, right? So I can see that this is a constant thing in my life that I need to deal with. It's not something that I solved, right? And now I've solved this problem. Here it is showing up in my life again, because again, there's difficulty, challenge. I'm forced to work harder, and yet I'm being constantly reminded you need to have balance. You need to make time for other things in your life.
Wow. That's really powerful and impactful to share. Thank you. Earlier you had mentioned that this year in particular had been one of your most challenging, and I'm curious because I can only imagine what you've experienced previously to that. What makes this year harder than all the rest?
Transition, change, and new beginnings. Right? With any transition, with any change, with any huge shift, and with any new beginning, there's always challenges. Many times there's destruction that has to happen, right? I'm thinking of, you've got that beautiful image of the forest behind you, and we have a lot. I live in BC. I love the forest, spend a lot of time in the forest, in the woods, and we have a lot of forest fires here as well. And as destructive as they are, they also regenerate and create new growth, and they're an important part of the cycle, right? So, and I've had this cycle, and I think we all have. We've had this cycle. If we look back at our lives, we've all had these journeys, these cycles of death and rebirth, of destruction and creation. And so this past year has been exactly that. And so it's not as if I've never gone through this before in my life. It's just a new iteration of the same story of destruction and creation. And again, maybe there's a little bit of a lesson there for me to learn, for all of us to learn, about when you know it's time, when you know something's coming to an end, you can either consciously have the courage and boldness to find a way to end it, to close that door, or God, the universe will close it for you.
Wow.
Because what happened this past year with our previous company, MLSP, needing to close down,
Mm.
something that we had been, I know for me, myself personally, I had been playing in my mind for several years. I knew that MLSP was not going to last forever. I knew that that was not my business forever. I knew that there was a new direction that I wanted to go to. And, you know, that we needed to move into. And there was an ending that we had to create. We couldn't see how to create that ending.
Mm.
And so it just happened.
Wow.
You know, it's kind of that thing, you be careful what you ask for, because you're going to get it. You might just not get it in the way that maybe you wanted it. But we got exactly what we wanted. We
Wow.
got to pivot and create now the new company that we had envisioned 5 or 6 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Right.
Congratulations.
With every crisis, there's a new opportunity. And so again, like as difficult as it has been, I mean, we dealt with, one of the biggest betrayals that you could ever deal with.
Wow.
One of the things that I've always been so proud of is the partnership that we had, because we had an amazing partnership, good friends, great partnership. We worked well together, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, when whatever challenges, difficulties arise, it shows the true nature of an individual. And
Mm.
there was a betrayal that happened in the partnership there. And I won't go into the details around it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's what broke up the company, and it's what,
Mm.
essentially destroyed that company. And silver lining, it's also what allowed us to move in the direction of our vision and our true passion and purpose. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That's very enlightening. Well, I'm really happy for you guys. I really am. And I like the name of the company too.
Yeah.
I feel like it's very fitting.
Yeah, I love it actually. I'm very excited that we were able to come up with that name and secure the domains and all that kind of
Mm.
stuff. It's very much in alignment with what all of us on the team really envision ourselves doing for the next 10, 20 years. I mean, so many great things that we can do with the brand now. We've honestly just been in business for a couple of months, because the whole transition happened around August.
Mm.
And where we had to quickly pivot and support the existing customers and all that kind of stuff. And there was honestly the end of 2023 was basically cleanup mode.
Mm.
And we feel like we finally started the business. We had our first quarterly meeting in January in Austin, Texas. And that really feels like the beginning of Digital Mentors was January 2024, which honestly is just 3 months away. We're just going to have our second quarterly meeting next week.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting.
I agree. I want to get more into that, but I am curious about the timeline of, and I hope you're okay with me asking, with the eye situation, the betrayal, like how interclosely did those two, or like what was the time frame? How closely were those two related?
Yeah, very close.
Wow.
Very related. Yeah. So the whole betrayal happened in August, was when we discovered that things were a little fishy.
Hmm.
And the company was transitioned August, September. And so obviously those last few months were, like I said, were a lot of cleanup. And obviously a lot of stress, a lot of unknown, a lot of challenges there financially as well, because it threw the company into financial turmoil.
Mm.
And this happened in January.
Wow. Okay.
January. Yeah. So, the funny thing with this, and this is called Naion. What I have is, it's a rare eye disease. It's called Naion, Naion. People can look it up. It's typically it occurs for people that have other, like they'll have diabetes, they're overweight. What are the other things? High blood pressure. Different things like that. Many times it's associated with MS, multiple sclerosis, right?
Oh, wow.
So it can be like a neurological issue. I have none of those markers. None. I'm in absolutely perfect health. We did all of the tests. There's nothing that they can point to. The only risk factors that I have is, number one, I was born with these blood vessels being narrower than vessels in my left eye. So I do have just a genetic birth defect. This has always been my weak eye, my right eye. So I think I already kind of had that predisposition. And then a little bit of smoking. Apparently, smoking is a risk factor. I don't smoke cigarettes, but I do smoke marijuana. We live in BC.
Yeah.
And so I have been enjoying that recreationally. And so that could be a potential risk factor. I've completely cut that out at this point. And then the other one that I can point to is stress. And stress is a huge factor for so many different health conditions. So that's honestly, those are the two things that I point to, honestly, are the stress and then the birth defect, just the natural fact that my blood vessels were smaller. And it's essentially something like a stroke, like a mini stroke in your your blood vessels. Yeah, that swells the optic nerve, and then the vision becomes all blurry. So now it's just adjusting to living with a blurry eye. It's really weird. It's strange.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, though, because I've heard stress can cause issues and stuff, but I think with you saying it and talking about it, it actually is becoming more apparent for the first time. I'm like, yeah, I should probably take care of my mental health as well, not just just being able to do everything to keep myself in like a happy state as well, not just so thank you.
Yeah, mental health that's an important topic, and I really appreciate a lot of people nowadays speaking about it a lot more, especially in the entrepreneurial space, especially in our space, so much in our space, because we spend a lot of time on social media, and social media, I mean, it's so easy to compare yourself to others. It's so easy because you're just looking at the highlights of people, right? And you never get into the depth of who these people really are. You're just seeing their highlights. And it's so easy to just get caught up in comparing yourself to others and other people's lives and how they're showing up on social media, and you're not good enough and and then it just causes more stress and overwhelm, just all that kind of stuff. It's so easy to get caught up in that for us in this industry as creators. And I think it's so important that we find that balance, whatever it is for you. Like for me, it has been sports, mountain biking, snowboarding. That definitely helps. Recently, since this happened for me, I've spent more time in meditation. And, I have to say there's huge merits to giving yourself that 20 minutes, that 30 minutes, even that hour, to sit in silence, whether it's in silence or it's guided meditation, and just to recenter your breathing and reconnect with your higher self instead of constantly listening to your monkey chatter. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about you, but I'm a very logical, mental person. I spend a lot of time in my head. I do. And so it's really important for me to be able to pull myself out of my mind, out of my and into my body, and then beyond myself, and connecting with your higher self. To have that practice, to have that activity, and it's just something that I'm newly bringing into my life right now, I think is so beneficial. Already sense in myself how I'm trying to behave and react differently to my stressors. And I literally had this experience last night, again, coming into a place of overwhelm, lots of projects I have to do. I took some time to, have my dinner, work out, and then the evening comes around and it's like, do I hang out and chill out and spend some time with my wife, or do I work on one of these projects that I really need to get done? And I constantly have that battle because there's so many things that I've got to work on right now that I'm involved in. And I had to catch myself and be like, hey, here you are repeating that pattern again. Here you are getting into overwork again. Here you are burning yourself out, pushing yourself to the limit again. How about we change that pattern?
Wow.
And being okay with letting everything go and just chilling out and being present and hanging out and relaxing and actually taking the time to rest and get a good night's sleep. Right? It's incredible what that does to you. And this is something a good friend of mine, Ryan Angelo, has been trying to beat into me. is, dude, you got to slow down in order to speed up. And it's something that I say to my clients as well. So it's interesting. I find a lot of coaches, many of the things that you'll hear your coach say over and over again, or something that's a big part of their brand, 9 times out of 10, it's their biggest lesson.
Wow. Interesting takeaway.
9 times out of 10.
Huh.
Yeah. Because I catch myself saying things to my clients over and over again, and I'm like, I got to remember that for myself.
That's awesome.
True.
Wow. Very, very, very cool. I am already thrilled about this interview.
That's fun. I'm excited to do more podcasts this year. That's one of my big goals.
Cool.
Is just jump on podcasts and meet new people and have great conversations. I really enjoy it, and I love connecting with people. And I don't get the time to do that because I don't spend a lot of time during the day connecting with friends and colleagues that I've met over the years and just like shooting the shit. I should do that more often, but I don't. And so this is just a great opportunity, like with you, Ian, to reconnect and just have a chat and a conversation. It's awesome.
Yeah. I've definitely enjoyed it. And I still remember the time that we were in Austin, and I believe it was Brian and you and I, and we were just sitting at this random table, and I was just had the opportunity to ask how you guys met, and you telling me more about your lives, and I was just like, wow, this is such a cool moment.
We're all just regular people having life experiences, right? Like that's all it is.
It's awesome.
Trying to make the most of this crazy world, figuring out our path and how we want to show up and I guess contribute in some way.
Yeah. I agree. So let's get into it. Digital mentors. What does it mean to you?
Digital mentors. It means freedom, fulfillment, and purpose for us, and also for our clients, the people that we touch, the people that we want to inspire, right? This journey for me has been one of discovering what I'm good at, what I enjoy doing, what I can get paid for, and how I want to contribute into the world and into the community, right? This whole entrepreneurial journey over the last 15, 20 years, that's been the journey for me. And it's brought me, we were lucky to create MLSP when we did in 2008. And that incredible experience of building a successful digital education business, a membership site, and then being able to touch and inspire thousands of people over those years and be able to build a profitable business and just have that whole experience that we were able to have. And now the greatest passion that I've gotten over the years is seeing people like yourself take what we taught, which was focused on network marketing at the time, right? Like that was our main clientele, is network marketers. Stop chasing after your friends and family. Try this online marketing stuff. It'll work for you a little bit better.
I agree.
But people took that, our members took that, clients took that, and I loved most the ones that took that and ran that in a completely different direction. You know, people like Ray Higdon, who just went off and built his massive, incredible business now in his own direction, in his own vision. People like Antonio Thompson, who started his own marketing agency and runs that still successfully, right? Taking that knowledge, that information, and then applying it to the thing that they're good at, to the thing where they can really shine. Beyond just promoting somebody else's company. Because I think network marketing is great. I think affiliate marketing is awesome. I think it's a great place to start. And for some people, it's a model that fits for them really well. I discovered about 5 or 6 years into running MLSP, I finally discovered and made the decision that network marketing is not for me. It's not my business model. I decided very clearly that the things that you need to do to be successful in network marketing, the activities you need to do on a daily, regular, consistent basis, and the person you need to be, the way you have to show up, is not who I am. Not in line with my strengths, gifts, and talents. And so network marketing is not for me. That's not my model. Fair enough. And that for me gave me an amazing clarity and freedom to then be able to focus on the things that I am good at, right? Being able to leverage my creativity, being able to leverage my strategic thinking, my ability to be a good listener and a coach, and be able to see perspectives that others sometimes are blinded to, which is what makes me a good coach and a good trainer in this space, right? And so we are so motivated. I'm so motivated and inspired to inspire others to follow that path, to discover their purpose, to discover their passion, to discover what they're good at, right? And then lean into that and figure out what can I create based on that. And what's unique about Digital Mentors is that we did not want to create a cookie cutter model. So one of the things that you see a lot in the coaching space online is you see there's a lot of these successful gurus teaching very successful systems to build a coaching business. Okay. Which is cool. And there's a place for it. It's great. The challenge that we find with that is that it's a cookie cutter system. And now you have to fit yourself into their cookie cutter system, right? Their model, which works. It works for them and it works for some of their clients, but it's not necessarily going to work for you if it's not in alignment with your talents, gifts, strengths, abilities, and personality, right? So what we try to do at Digital Mentors is create an incubator, and that's literally what we called our program. It's an incubator program. Designed it after the successful entrepreneur incubator programs around the world, where you can come into a supportive community, get the mentorship, get the guidance, get the instructions that you need to build your business with the freedom of designing it how you want to design it. Whether you're going to do it through a podcast, whether you're going to do it through courses, whether you're going to do it through one-on-one coaching, group coaching, membership sites. We want you to have that freedom and flexibility to create your business the way you see fit, the way that aligns with your vision, with our guidance and mentorship. Because we've done it all in this space, right? We've done network marketing, affiliate marketing, courses, coaches, events, masterminds. We've done it all. So we have experience in all of those areas, and we can give you guidance, mentorship, regardless of how you want to design your vision.
Wow. And what is it about that which really lights you up or gets you excited?
It's seeing people be inspired. It's seeing people tap into their greatness. It's having that ability to share an insight or share a perspective with a client and see them light up. See them own their value. I was just working with a client last week, and she was confused about the direction she wants to go with her business. She's got, an affiliate model that she's focused on. She's got some ideas around courses and coaching. She has her own personal talents and skill sets. And then she has this book that she's writing about her personal story, leaving a war-torn country.
Wow.
And through our conversation and through our exploration, I was able to help her see her true passion and purpose, what that could look like as a business, and then help her to see that the book she's already writing, which she thought was just a hobby, is actually completely tied into her brand. And to see her light up and be like, oh my God, I'd never thought of it that way.
Wow.
And for me, it was just clearly evident, like, this is who you are based on everything you're telling me. This book is exactly who you are, and it's a perfect marketing vehicle for you, even though it's not a work of fiction, it's her personal story. But it perfectly tied into her entire brand and what she wants to do as a coach and mentor, right? So those types of experiences absolutely light me up. Like I've never done as much one-on-one coaching as I'm doing right now. It's something that, I didn't do because we had other coaches that we hired, and we leveraged systems and people. And right now we're in the trenches. So I'm doing a lot of the one-on-one coaching with my clients. I spend probably 10 hours a week coaching clients right now. And I got to tell you, I love it. it lights me up. Like it's one of the
Wow.
favorite parts of my day when I can just show up and I can hang out with a person for an hour and ask them questions and be able to guide them and give them other perspectives and give them strategy and watch them light up and be able to move forward in their life and their business. It's amazing. It's very rewarding.
Wow. I can only imagine how good you are at it as well, because I've experienced just seeing you speak on stage and then you hiring coaches, but to see you do it yourself is just like a whole nother level.
It's fun and it takes coaching is interesting. Coaching is really interesting. I think some people are definitely born to be coaches, or born to be better coaches. I think it's something you can teach and train. There's definitely a skill set. I'm not a certified coach in any way. I've never taken any certification classes to be a coach. But I think definitely one of the qualities that you need is number one, listening, right? So you've got to just be able to listen to a person. And number two, and this is something that I think makes me a good marketer as well, is being able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and try to see the world through their perspective. Try to feel their experience. And that's where that intuition comes in. And I know that probably a lot of your listeners have that type of intuition. There's an intuitive feeling that they get. Like when I go on stage, I've never scripted a presentation ever on stage. I speak from the heart. I speak from intuition. And so many times the words that come out of my mouth, I'm like, where did that come from? I don't even know. Right.
Wow.
That's what I think it means to be tapped into like your higher self. It's like when you're in flow. Right. And that's the feeling you need to be in as a coach. And I think as a coach, you know if you're there or you're not. Right? Because if you're approaching somebody's, if you're approaching your client from where you think you need to take them, or from where you think the answer is, you're missing the point.
Wow.
The goal of a coach, in my perspective, is to help them guide themselves.
Very cool.
Right? That help them figure out what's right for them. And it's about leading them with simple questions, letting them think about how they're perceiving things and letting them discover that new perspective themselves. Because that lands on a deeper level and then it stays with them as a transformation. Because it's one thing when somebody teaches you something, right? Tell you something. It's a completely different experience when you receive that realization on your own. You figure out that new perspective on your own, where you have the experience of, oh, right, now I see, now I see. That's powerful.
Yes, I completely agree.
It's the difference between I hear that and I feel that. I know that now, right? Because I've experienced that. Right? That's the difference between being told a lesson and I hear it. Yeah, I hear that. I know that. I know that. Right? I know that. Do you really know it? Have you lived it? Have you experienced it? Very, very different learning. I mean, that's why with kids, like you can tell them over and over and over again, but until they experience it themselves. And as a parent, you know, raising teenagers has been an incredible learning experience of becoming a better coach.
Never.
Right?
Oh, wow. I can see.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Right? Because when you tell your teenage daughter, this is the way things are, it's not received very well. You get a lot of walls and resistance. Right? So you have to figure out, okay, well, how is she perceiving the world? And I had that experience with my daughter. I had to get out of what I thought I needed to teach her as her father. And I needed to figure out, how is she seeing the world and what is it that she's really needing right now? It's not me telling her the facts of life or what Norbert thinks is true. It's me, what she needed at that point was somebody she could talk to. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And again, being able to step outside of yourself, put yourself in somebody else's shoes, and allow yourself to feel what is it that they need right now? What is it that they're experiencing right now?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a powerful skill and a gift that some people have. And if you're listening to this right now and you feel touched by that and you're like, I feel like I'm like that. I feel like I have that intuitive gift. I hope that you're using it in helping other people, because it's incredibly fulfilling when you can.
Wow. Powerful.
Yeah.
Awesome. I know that one of the skill sets that you said that you're good at is being able to point out what other people are kind of maybe missing or lacking in a way. What are some of your other strong skill sets?
Yeah, I'd shift that a little bit. It's not so much what they're missing, maybe what they're not seeing.
Okay.
And it's many times what they're not seeing in themselves. I've really discovered, working with thousands of people over the last 15, 16, 17 years,
Mm-hmm.
and many of them successful in their own right, successful careers, successful businesses. And I would say that the majority of people, 100%, undervalue their greatness,
Wow.
undervalue their gifts, talents, and abilities. That's what I've noticed. And what's interesting is typically the older we get, the more we kind of devalue it, because then we start getting clouded in the thinking of, I'm too old, I'm past my prime, I'm too old for that, I can't learn that now, I'll never catch up. Though we allow those little things to creep in, and then any value that we did own in ourselves can just be kind of rotted away by those types of limiting beliefs and self-doubts, when in reality,
Yeah.
we become more valuable the older we get, because with every day passing, we have new experiences, we develop our skills, we gain more knowledge. So we're actually becoming more valuable to the market the older we get. Right? So, we should have more confidence in what we have to offer the marketplace rather than less. And yeah, so that's one of the big things that I like to do, is I like to pull that greatness out of people, for sure.
Nice. I really like that. I think one thing you mentioned earlier too was listening, and it's being like a core skill. And I think everyone has this idea or concept of what listening is, but I'm curious, for you, what does it mean to be able to listen effectively to somebody?
It starts with a feeling for me. So it's a heart connection, right? That feeling of really allowing their presence to affect me. And not so much even their words, but trying to understand what's behind those words. And it's not a logical understanding. Like, there's definitely that logical part of me that is always trying to solve the problems logically. But I think it starts from a place of feeling, that feeling connection that you have with someone, to really desire to connect with them and really hear them and understand them. I think that's one of the biggest human needs that we have as humans, is to be heard and to be understood. And that was the big lesson that I learned through my relationship with my daughter, was understanding how important it is to be there for somebody and to really hear them and really understand them. I think that's key. So it's a feeling. Yeah, it's a feeling that you feel, where you're connected to the other person, where you can feel for them. It's an empathy. We talk about empaths, right? Being empathic. I think that is a highly necessary skill of a good coach, right? I mean, there's different styles of coaching, right? There's the coaches that are just going to push you and pump you up and motivate you and get you going.
Mhm.
And there's a place and a need for coaches like that. I've had coaches like that in my life, and I think that those coaches are really important. And then there's another level of coach, I think, that is able to connect on that emotional level with you.
Mm.
And maybe different times in your life, you need different styles of coaches.
Mhm.
That's a possibility as well. Yeah.
Wow. And speaking of coaches, what are some of the lessons or more influential coaches or people that have been in your life?
Oh, yes, that's a deep question.
Uh-huh.
I like to approach, and maybe this is why I typically get along with a lot of people, a lot of different people. There's very few people in my life that I've made enemies with,
Mhm.
or there's very few people in my life that have had a chance to know me that dislike me.
Mm.
And I think the reason for that is that I feel like I have something to learn from everybody I meet.
Hmm.
So that's the way I enter into a relationship and a conversation with people. Um, I think it would be rare that someone would ever feel like I'm superior to them or I'm in
Mm.
some way, more like I would hate for somebody to ever say that Norbert, he's got such a huge ego
Mm.
because I don't think he had a chance to meet me or really hang out with me, right? Because that's my approach to other people is I always feel like I have something to learn from somebody else. So when you talk about coaches, yeah, I've had coaches that I've hired. I've had coaches that I've worked with, but I look at my partners in business as my coaches
Oh, wow.
because they hold me accountable. They expect the best of me. They push me and they'll call me out when shit
Mm.
needs to be called out. Right. I look at my wife as my coach,
Mm.
right? Because she expects the best of me and she calls me out on my bullshit. I look at my kids as my coaches
Really?
because all of the lessons that I've learned through my experiences with them,
Mm.
right? And every single one of my clients, I become a better person with every client that I get to work with every client that brings me their challenges and their stories and their situations and their circumstances. And I have to figure it out, right? I see that as a learning lesson. And so for me, that term coach, we
Mhm.
can talk about a coach, like a specific coach, but I really look at everybody in my life as a mentor, as a coach, as somebody that I can learn from, and as somebody through which I'm constantly learning and constantly developing and growing.
Wow. I really admire that.
Just a different way of looking at it, I guess. I don't think I'm the only one that looks at it that way, but that's the way that I approach relationships for sure. Is I'm always curious as to what I'm going to learn from this person.
Very cool. And I am very curious about digital mentors. What does the future of that company hold?
Oh, big visions and big dreams, right? I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves just
Okay,
yet. So I'm gonna keep those cards close to the chest.
please.
Right now, our focus is developing the incubator program.
Okay.
So one of the key things that I teach in all of my trainings, and we're actually applying it in this business,
Mhm.
is simplicity and focus.
Hmm.
So
Nice.
one of the headaches that we created with MLSP was that it became a complex monster,
Mm.
just out of hand, out of control in every aspect. The overhead, the resources, like literally we had over 1,000 domain names that we owned and purchased. Like it was just like stuff like
Seriously.
that was just a perfect example of if you don't have discipline, you will complicate and overwhelm yourself. It's just like human nature. We just tend to complicate things. I don't know why, but that's what we do, right? We just make things much more complicated. I remember, look, this is so random, but I remember watching a car review about one of the new Porsche Panamera models, and it was like one of their e Porsches, whatever, and everything's electronic and computerized and stuff like that, right? It was the perfect example of unnecessary complexity. Okay. You know the vents in a car?
Yeah.
You reach over to the vent and you move it up and down or left or right.
Right.
How much effort does that take? Zero effort. What do they do in this thing? They've got this huge computerized touchpad because Tesla had one, right? This massive screen. So in order to move the vent, you have to go into this touchscreen computer and press like 6 different buttons to find the vent you want to move left or right or up or down.
It's incredible.
It's incredible. Why would you do that when it's a simple flick of the finger, right?
Yeah.
And yet this is what humans do, right? And this is a perfect example with all the different technologies right now that some of our crazy scientists in the world, because science is so great. Don't get me started on a rant. Science is so great. We need to have all these crazy, nanobots and this stuff and that stuff. And it's like, great, that's awesome. Or we could just eat healthy, natural food and be healthier. I don't know. All these convoluted, complex carbon taxes and all this kind of stuff to save the planet. Or we could just have healthy soil and more trees because it's already doing the job. So I'll get off my soapbox there and off that rant. Simplicity. There's a great quote by Richard Branson. He says, complexity is the enemy. Any fool can make something complex. It's difficult to keep things simple. And so that is the biggest challenge. And if you want to build yourself a business that doesn't give you headaches, focus on simplicity. I always ask myself the question, and I do this with my clients, what is the simplest, quickest, easiest, cheapest, most efficient way to accomplish this goal? So whatever goal it is that you want to accomplish, or whatever purpose it is that you're creating something for, I want to generate a lead. I want to make a sale. I want to acquire a customer. Cool, great purpose. What's the simplest, quickest, most efficient, easiest way to accomplish that goal? Instead of creating some complex, convoluted webinar registration funnel with 15 automations, is there a simpler way to accomplish that goal? Pretty sure there is. Let's start there. Let's make it effective. Let's get it to work. And then we can talk about adding steps and making it more complex. So going back to your original question, the vision with Digital Mentors right now, we are committed to simplicity. And so we have one core offer. It's our incubator program.
Wow. Awesome.
And that's it. So our focus for at least the next year, if not our first 2 years, is really just building out that incubator program, making it 10 times more valuable than what we charge for it. And, using that to create results for our clients.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Cool. So one question, and I'll make it my last. How's Brian doing?
Brian is on fire right now.
That's awesome.
He is on fire. Well, we've done really well with our team. We have a very lean team of 6. Every single one of us is contributing in our area of expertise. And it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Wow.
Beautiful thing to watch because we have our areas of responsibility. And of course, there's overlap, with a lean team and a business that we're running. There's obviously overlap. But we've somehow magically gathered this amazing team of 6 people that complement each other's skill sets in the most beautiful way. And we had that with MLSP, but this iteration here with Digital Mentors is like nothing else I've seen before. And so Brian right now is in his element, in charge of sales and marketing.
Oh, good. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the numbers he's putting up, the like the conversion rates, the numbers, the conversations he's having, he's one of the best. He's one of the best there is. And you know, you give him that, you put yourself where you are the best, where you are the strongest, where you shine. It's like you think about it in athletics, right? In athletics, you're not going to take, you know, LeBron and put him on the football field, right? Like it would be insane to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And yet in the workspace, entrepreneurship, careers, business, and stuff like that, we do that all the time. We try to put ourselves into a sport that we have no business being in. That's like me trying to become a project manager. Absolute worst position for me available. Or an accountant. Good Lord. That would be the worst. Okay? Like there's some things you know that you should not touch, right? Don't touch it. Find your strength, find your gift, find a way where you can run in that lane full speed. And you're going to excel. And, you know, going full circle back to that wealth dynamics quiz, you know, that's a huge one that I recommend all the time. Roger James Hamilton, wealth dynamics. You can use my affiliate link if you want, wealthprofile.com, but I don't care. Just go do it. If you've been struggling to find your game, to find your path, I think that's one of the best personality quizzes out there that help you just to clarify and see what my gifts and talents are and where should I really be focusing my energy. And then all the stuff that you're weak at, outsource it, delegate it, create systems around it. But if you're spending the majority of time doing the things that you're weak at, it's going to deflate your confidence. It's going to deflate your emotional energy, and you're going to struggle to get results.
Wow.
An uphill battle.
I really appreciate you sharing all this today. I always get excited when it's talking with you guys, really. I mean, even Brian has made a huge difference in my life, and I feel like there were definitely times where I just felt really lost, and I would just like jump on those morning calls, or I think I listened to Brian's copywriting course 6 times. Like it's just like
Yeah.
I definitely just appreciate, you know, you guys a lot, and thank you for continuing and everything you guys are doing.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good to hear. And hopefully we'll be out more. Like right now, most of the work that we're doing obviously is inside of our incubator with our incubator clients. But we are, as soon as we kind of have the infrastructure there, our plan is to get more front-facing public content out there, which is why I'm starting to do the podcast circuits and stuff. And eventually, Brian, I'm hoping will be able to get out more publicly as well, because he's got a beautiful message that he needs to share as well. Right? And he's got a personality that, you know, just attracts and inspires and lights people up, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we definitely got to leverage that. We got to get him out there more on the front-facing as well. And then honestly, it just makes me think of the live events, you know, like we're crushing the virtual events right now. That's our jam. We've mastered that process, and it's been working really well for us.
Nice.
But it's going to be definitely fun. I think that, I mean, there's got to be a Digital Mentors event at some point in the future.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Cool. And that's just digitalmentors.com for people who want to reach out.
That's it. Yeah. We actually have a really good, a free tool. It's called our Compass. It's actually really great for anybody to take. It's an AI personal and business assessment, and it kind of walks you through 13 different questions around your expertise, your specialty. And if you take the time, like don't just rush through it, actually take the time and answer the questions, go through it, and it'll spit back an AI generated report that kind of brings back all of your answers and questions together into like a report with an outline of some different marketing strategies, or just a way to look at how you could actually craft that into a business. It's a really cool tool. Jesse designed the whole thing from the ground up, leveraging AI. So it's really cool. It's the Digital Mentors Compass. You'll find it there at digitalmentors.com. Yeah.
Nice, man. Wonderful. Well, hey, thanks again for willingness to come on the podcast and just being who you are, man. This has been great.
My pleasure, Ian. Yeah, thank you for having me, and congrats again.
Thank you. Awesome. Cool. Well, sweet. I'm excited to get this out.
Good show. Right on, man. That was fun. That was fun.
And I just gotta share this win with you. So like I ended up getting Diane Hockman on and then Ray Higdon on and now you on. It's just been like, oh my gosh, this is so cool.
I love it. That's good, man. I mean, that's just getting that, the scale of like stepping up, right? Stepping up and getting that growth. Do you get do you do the short clips from it as well?
Yes, that dude, I found some clips on some older interviews that I was like, I don't even know if I like was able to even register what that person had said, but it just like made a huge difference. Like the new intro I did for the way I'm positioning the podcast made it like 1,000 times better than I've ever come across before.
Nice. Right on. Right on.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, let's stay in touch, and I'd love to share this episode out when it's published. So just let me know.
Awesome. Happy to.
Yeah.
Well, Norbert.
Awesome, dude. Okay. Talk soon. Stay in touch.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All
Bye,
right.
Ian.
Cheers. Bye.